sitting in holy smoky form. There is no joke in this. With a big game-changing piece of news, plus $500 million going to create the first sizable, stagnant corporate reserve, XRP reserve, ripple and circle with. We will discuss that somewhat here. We will address PPI. The market is doing what? Is W3 going to be WWE? We will briefly discuss Trump's remarks on China, the Fed, what he said on crypto, and what he said on China. There is a lot of Trump-linked activities here. All I ask from you is a lovely grin to transmit those positive energy. Like a button, smash shitties as likes are free. You understand it as it is. Likes are free of charge. Say not that I did not indulge you. Try to have 2,555 likes on this video. You people and women are capable, as I know. Let us now go right in. XRP is so right now lying at $2.24. XRP is down roughly 1% on the day. However, for the past several hours, after XRP broke through the resistance zone at $2.26, XRP has been stabilizing in this $2.23 to $2.24 area. It shows up broken, turned down, and dropped all the way to $2.21. But not only XRP has been retreating from. Additionally, Bitcoin jumped from 110,000 all the way to $1.06. The state of Israel and Iran worries the market somewhat. And thus, even if we are receiving positive news, I believe that the market is more, I would not call terrified, but I am worried about perhaps things starting. Correct. This is also the reason we are seeing a little hesitant market. Indeed. Not very much, even though, well, I wanted to let you know that in the opening, I forgot. I missed to set up my joke, which was all prepared. I was about to mention Coinbase just started smells more strongly. Naturally, Fardcoin is now active on Coinbase. I thus intended to make that joke, but I forgot. I thus made it, though. However, in the morning, we did acquire the producer inflation statistics, whereby PPI was 2.6 instead of the projected 2.6, and core PPI was 3, less than projected at 3.1. Initially then, jobless claims were rather higher than projected. Not crazy. 6,000 more than anticipated. Furthermore, it'll be rather fascinating to observe what happens with the Fed, since President Trump recently declared he would not remove Fed Chair Jerome Powell, but he essentially can, hence it is essentially meaningless. Nevertheless, Jerome, I still believe he arrives late for the celebration, just late. Powell ought to have lowered already interest rates like Europe did, like the rest of the globe, UK included. And I believe it's time, but he's still knocking on the wall with his head beat on the wall, and he's just carrying on like that. This is the circumstances then. Sometimes you just have to go with the flow and follow the circumstances. It will be rather fascinating to see how Powell and the interest rates finally turn out. Retail is returning, though, just a bit. Thus, retail attitude in is rising as Bitcoin is aiming at a 112,000 new all-time high. Social media reveals over 2 times more positive than negative. Considering Trump's election 7 months ago, this is the most favorable ratio. Therefore, the truth is that we are accumulating more holdings. Sure, online mood is improving, as you can see the holders rising. Retail, though, is like, the new retail is not yet here. I believe what has happened is perhaps a cycling in and out of sentiment here. Though if you look at YouTube, views are down across the board, not just XRP, but also for Bitcoin channels and general crypto channels like Coin Bureau and others. People are somewhat optimistic indeed. Coin Bureau is Twitter account. Thus, it will be fascinating to observe whether we really have a miner gathering here and whether the altcoins start moving at last. People are engaging and waiting for altcoins even if Bitcoin posts all-time high as they believe that it is already too costly or excessive. And since I cannot purchase one Bitcoin, some folks are still rather cautious about it. That will thus be fascinating to observe how that finally turns out. Trump's declaring that the China trade deal is fantastic also brings some positive news. Akin to Tony the Tiger. It's fantastic. Exactly. Therefore, it will be fascinating to observe what happens once more with the China deal, and when should we get details regarding whether it closed? Actually, is it finally finished? Is it delivered, signed, and sealed? Though we believe it to be, who knows? There may be a last-minute Hail Mary, a poor one, right, and blow through the agreement. We will thus observe how that works out. Quite significant announcements coming from Circle and Ripple. At the end, they did not mix. Exactly. We saw no buying of Ripple by Circle. We then learned from Circle that USDC is currently live on the XRP ledger. Launched native USDC and XRPL, developers, institutions, and users get backing of the biggest regulated stablecoin worldwide. Enterprise B2B payments increase capital efficiency across borders and leverage USDC for worldwide money transfer. Market makers can utilize DeFi liquidity provisioning USDC to create token pair and FX flow bootstrapping for. USDC can be integrated by financial, infrastructure, custodian wallet, fintech platform apps to provide quicker, more open settlement choices. And with XRPL, USDC is trustworthy digital dollar, enabling innovation in payments, DeFi, and global finance. Currently supported natively on 22 blockchains, USDC is, and you can see here, that Ripple asserts interoperability of the future is achievable. XRP Ledger is used by USDC. Accelerating DeFi and institutional adoption, Ripple and Circle are adding the completely reserved one-to-one backed stablecoin to XRPL. Given the ongoing cooperation between XRP and XRPL, as well as the rest of the market, this will be really crucial. We've talked about the bridge yesterday to Ethereum, and this opens up basically the possibility for USDC that is riding on Ethereum to cross over onto XRPL. And this will, have situations where if you have a business that is using now USDC, they can now interact with some bank or some institution that is using XRPL or RLUSD. And thus, this offers more choices, more financial transfer possibilities, and I think the more the merry. Indeed. Well, you might say, essentially USDC is a rival to RLUSD. It is in some measure. If you can't beat them, though, join them. Work with them if you cannot purchase them. And thus, right now we are witnessing just that. Extremely, very significant news. More major news. Create the first significant corporate XRP